Bonjour tout le monde, c'est moi Charlotte et aujourd'hui nous allons étudier 6 manières intelligentes de faire face aux gens toxiques. Ok, donc ça c'est en fait c'est le titre d'un article que j'ai trouvé sur un site web français qui s'appelle psychologue.net. Voici le lien d'origine et ça m'intéresse. Et c'est un très bon article. Et moi, j'ai enlevé les 6 titres, les 6 conseils simples. Donc, on va les regarder ensemble. So, everyone, what I've done is I've gone to this French website. And it's like a psychology or psychologist.net, if you like. Psychologue means psychologist, so it's psychologue.net, and on it I found a really interesting article about how, like, 6 intelligent ways to deal with or face toxic people. So this is quite like a kind of topical kind of thing now. We hear this phrase toxic, so I thought it might be quite useful kind of content just in itself. It's certainly interesting to me, but also it's taken from real actual language which you can find online. This link will take you there. So if you're a member of my French club, then this is your February video, so you'll get this handout later today. I'm sorry I've been a bit delayed by something that cropped up urgently, a personal matter which had to be dealt with, so I wasn't able to post this a few days ago on the last Thursday of February, but that happens sometimes. Life is busy at the moment. So all of these 6 tips for dealing with toxic people or toxic person or whatever, toxic behaviour, they're written in the VU form, and that could be for 2 reasons. So first of all, this appears on content that's online, so it could be addressing like an audience of many people, so plural. You guys, you should do this, this and this if you are dealing with. So do you know what I mean? It's it could either be using the VU form to address lots of people, or it could be addressing someone individually. Vous, as in there's one reader, so it could be quite a personal way of addressing someone formally, in a polite way. So vous is really useful. When you ask questions in French, you will generally use the vous form. If you're asking one person, assuming it's an adult, pouvez-vous m'aider, par exemple? So can you help me, for example? So the verb can you, or the can you part, is in the vous form. So let me show you what I mean. So the first tip for dealing with toxic people is this. Numéro 1. Continuer. This is what I mean. So this is the verb in the first one. Continuer. By the way, I'm on a chair that moves around, and I'm just in like a little corner of a room at the moment. There might be things that make noises and stuff. Sorry about that. Just doing what I can. So continuer, that's the verb. Votre vie. It actually says continuer votre vie. Votre that means your. That's like a possessive adjective that will appear before a singular noun. So votre vie. Vie happens to be a feminine noun, but it doesn't really make a difference, because you don't, like, if you're saying my something, my, it would be either mon stylo, ma maison, my house, mes enfants, my children. So you've got mon, ma, and mes. Singular masculine, singular feminine, plural, whether it's masculine or feminine. So you've got 3 ways of saying my. You've got 3 ways of saying your in the to form, and of saying his or her in the third person kind of singular form. And then you've got 2 ways of saying your in the vous form. Okay, so if you're talking to one person formally and you want to say your, this is your pen, votre stylo, votre portable. If you want to say your pens, plural, vos stylos, vos. That's VOS. So the one that we actually need now is votre. Continuez votre vie. So that's the word life, like in c'est la vie. That's life. Ah oui, c'est la vie. Continuez votre vie. So, continue your life. That's the verb continuer, which in its full infinitive form is an ER verb, so it's got ER at the end. If you look up the verb to continue or to carry on, keep going kind of thing, if you look that up in a dictionary in French, it will say continuer with an E and an R at the end. If you take the E and the R off and replace it with EZ, then that's the vous ending in the present tense, okay? But it sounds the same as ER. E. There's lots of little kind of units of sound that sound the same in French, but they might be written differently. And indeed, for that reason, even natives get the endings mixed up sometimes, or like in text speak, they might use like an E with an acute accent, like that, because that is also pronounced E, okay? So anyway, back to the point. If you're dealing with a toxic person, toxic people, continuez votre vie sans eux. Continue your life without them. Sans eux literally means or without. Normally that's pronounced sans. But if it's followed by a word that starts with a vowel, like eux means them, then you pronounce the S, and that little bit there, you make a liaison between that S and that E. So it becomes sans eux, sans eux, sans eux. Continuez votre vie sans eux. Continue your life without them. That's the first bit of advice. So let's think of where you would normally see that word sans. Sans sucre. Sans sucre. Café sans sucre. So sugar-free, sugarless, or without sugar. You might see it, for example, on food labels, and it will be sans in front of it, like a noun. This word E, which actually sounds like the letter E, A, B, C, D, E, E. That means them. Okay, that can refer to men or women, plural. Okay, continue your life without them. Pas toujours facile, mais voilà. C'est un bon conseil, quand même. Good bit of advice, even if it isn't always easy. Okay, this next one has two verbs in it. Arrêtez de... Actually, the first one is in the vous form. Arrêtez, and then arrêtez de is stop doing something. So, arrêtez de plus an infinitive verb. Prétendre is a bit of a faux ami, that's a bit of a false friend. Here, it's not really stop pretending that their behaviour is okay. It's kind of like stop allowing their behaviour to be okay. Yeah, it's a bit like pretend. Stop affirming or maintaining. Don't allow it, basically. Arrêtez, arrêtez. So let's write this down. Arrête. You might hear people say arrête. Or you might see the various iterations or cognates of the verb arrêter, or an arrêt is like a stop. Arrêt de bus is bus stop, for example. So arrêter means to stop. Arrêter de prétendre. So I mentioned that E with an accent aigu, with the acute accent. That's what that one's called. I can never really remember it. So on that E, it would be pronounced pré, and then this will be it's got an N after it, so it's on. Arrêtez de prétendre que. So stop allowing their behaviour, stop maintaining that. Que means like that. Leur, that means their, the behaviour of them, their. Leur comportement, very, very similar to the word comportment, the English word, and that means behaviour, the way someone comports themselves. There's an E there. Comportement. Et ok. Ok. It's funny because okay, it's kind of pronounced in French, it's pronounced ok instead of oka, which is funny. So they've kind of embraced a global approach to the pronunciation of that. But weirdly, if you were going to say knocked out, like someone's knocked out, sometimes that can mean like drunk or out of it. So if you reverse that to KO, which some people might use to mean knocked out in English, KO, j'étais KO. I heard that when I was, in France in my early 20s. Youngsters might say that someone was KO, they're out of it. It's like taken from the English knockout, but weirdly, that's pronounced KO and that's pronounced OK. So voilà. So arrêtez de prétendre que leur comportement est OK. Stop imagining or stop allowing their behaviour to be OK. Like stop it. Because it's not. Oh, I wanted to say something. So at the beginning of this article, there's a lovely paragraph in French, obviously. It's actually on let me see if I've got my old phone here. So yeah, it gives you, there's a picture of a lady, like this, stop. And it talks about something which I think is very important, and I agree with. So it's talking about when you have to put up with or like live through or experience the highs and lows and the tempests basically of the behaviour of someone who's in a bad mood or someone who's like really negative or nasty, then like it's a massive challenge. But you should remember that these people might be going through a really bad period in their life, and it gives some examples. So could be a difficult period, like they might be ill, chronically anxious, or they might not have what they need in their life. And I think this is often the cause of people who are like acting in a nasty or negative or spiteful or just like a bad way towards other people or someone else. It might be as simple as like their needs aren't met in terms of like love or support, like emotional support. So it says here like these people need to be listened to, supported and cared for. Ces personnes doivent être écoutées, soutenues et soignées. I believe completely in all of this stuff. I think this is why a lot of people in the world are hurting, or upset or angry or carrying anger and pain around with them, pushing it out into others sometimes. But it does say whenever the reason or the cause of their bad behaviour, their negativity, it might be that sometimes you have to protect yourself from their behaviour. So I just want to acknowledge that, people need help and support, but that doesn't excuse like nastiness or hostility or negative behaviour if it affects you in a bad way. If someone's doing that, then it's okay for you to put up your guard to protect yourself or those you love. Okay, so that's what this is about. Arrêtez de prétendre que leur comportement toxique est okay. So stop pretending that toxic behaviour is okay, or stop affirming rather than pretending. So numéro 3 is very simple. Parler. Parler. So parler is from the verb parler, and it's in the vous form. Speak or talk. Speak. Like just speak about things. Like share what's going on, if you can, with people, like your psychologist if you have one, or counsellor or doctor or friends or family. Just like or just speak. Just interact with other people and speak about things, shopping or whatever. Just like speak. Number 4. Numéro 4. Affirmez-vous et défendez votre espace. Votre espace. Okay. So this has got 2 verbs actually. So the first one is assert yourself. It's a reflexive verb. Affirmer. Affirmer is normally like to confirm or could be affirm. Affirmer. Yeah. Affirmez-vous. Assert yourself. Okay? Just like in English, it's a reflexive structure actually. So the vous is the yourself bit, and affirmer is in the EZ vous form in the present tense, but it's also in the imperative. It's telling you to do something. Like parler is speak. Affirmez-vous is like you could put exclamation point there. It could be, it's like an order. So that's what happens with reflexive verbs in the imperative. You just conjugate the verb in the vous form if it's in the vous form, and then put a little hyphen, and then you put the reflexive pronoun there. Affirmez-vous et, so this has got two verbs. Défendez, that's kind of like English, defend or protect, votre espace, and defend your space. That's a good one. Yeah, you're entitled to have your own space, you know. And it's okay to tell people what you're not okay with, you know. And they should respect that. Numéro 5. Right, so this is in the negative. Ne prenez pas. Ne prenez pas. So we've got the verb prenez. Oh no, we've got conjugated verb here. Prenez, that's in the vous form. I don't know what I'm thinking. Vous form, and it's, so that means take, you take. Ne and pas means do not. Do not take, and this is from the verb prendre. It's an RE verb. To take. So ne prenez pas. Here's that word again, leur, like le pack. It's like a type of vegetable buttery spread thing. Leur comportement. What was that word? Do you remember? Comportement just means their behavior. Ne prenez pas leur comportement toxique. Right, so that's the adjective toxic. Toxique, you find that a lot with the IQ UE ending, you know. If words in English tend to end with IC, then they'll probably end with IQUE in French generally, if it's got like a kind of cognate. Ne prenez pas leur comportement toxique personnellement. Personally. Personnel. Combien de N? Deux N et deux L. Voilà, ok. Ne prenez pas leur comportement toxique personnellement. So don't take their toxic behavior personally. Okay, it's not your problem that someone else is being mean or nasty or angry or whatever it is, you know. There's lots of kind of negative emotions, but you know, it's not your fault. Like you're only responsible for your own behavior, you know. Can't be responsible for other people. Voila. So that's that one. Now what's the last one? Oh, we got the same verb. So we got prenez. Ne prenez pas is don't take. But here we've got, so that's the negative. Now we've got the affirmative, if you like. Prenez, take. Take. So what's it going to be? Take du temps. Du temps. Prenez du temps. This is numéro 6. Prenez du temps. Some time. Time. If you're talking about some time, then you need to say du temps. Le temps, because it's a masculine singular noun. Du just means some. If you wanted some coffee, you'd say je voudrais du café. Okay. If you want some time, je voudrais du temps, s'il vous plaît. Ok. Prenez du temps pour. Take some time for yourself. Vous. Prenez du temps pour vous. Take some time for yourself. Take some time for you. Great ideas. Let's have a look at them again. So, no, actually, first of all, before I recap. No, we'll recap. Numéro 1. Manière intelligente de faire face aux gens toxiques. Right? First way to deal with, intelligent way to deal with toxic people. Continuez votre vie sans eux. Continue your life without them. 2. Pardon. Arrêtez de prétendre que leur comportement toxique est ok. Stop allowing their toxic behavior to be okay. Stop maintaining that it's okay. C'est pas vrai. Numéro 3. 1, 2, 3. Parlez. Speak. Numéro 4. Voilà, 4. Affirmez-vous. Say yourself. et défendez votre espace. So assert yourself and defend your space, you know, protect your space. Numéro 5, ne prenez pas leur comportement toxique personnellement. Don't take their toxic behavior personally. And numéro 6, prenez du temps pour vous. Take some time for yourself. So what I thought we'd do next is I just demonstrate how you take a verb and you change it into the new form. So we've got, for example, we've got loads of verbs to choose from here. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We've got 8 verbs here for anyone who's a member of my club to have a look at. You'll get this later on. So let's take the verb continuer. Continuer. C-O-N-T-N-U-E-R. To continue. Voilà. It's a little children's book, that was. Continuer is the verb to continue. Now we're going to take the end off, put an EZ. Continuer. That means keep going or continue in the vous form. Voilà. So you just sort of take the infinitive, take off the ER, put an EZ, and that's in the vous form, okay? Now we're going to do the same thing with the nous form. Continue. Take off the ER, and we're going to put ONS at the end. Continuons. Now, if we put an exclamation mark after that, continuons, then that means let's continue. Like an imperative, something you're saying, come on, let's do something. Come on. So that's how you change something to the new form. You just, if it goes from vous to nous, like you guys do something, now let's us all do something, including you, but me also, that means us. Okay, so you just put O and S at the end. So take it back down to the stem of the verb. Any of these verbs here, arrêter, arrêtons, let's stop. Or arrêtons-nous, if we're going to be let's stop doing something. But arrêtons de prétendre que le comportement toxique est okay. Let's stop imagining or stop allowing this bad behavior to be okay. Okay. Let's take some time for us. So in that one, you would change prenez, du temps pour vous, to prenons, let's take, du temps, some time, pour nous, for us. Okay, that's how you do that. Okay, let's see if we can just do a little quick comment dit-on. So, comment dit-on, how does one say en français? Behavior. Behavior. Similar to an English word. Let's use this little stylo bleu. Behavior, on dit comportement. Voilà, comportement. Et comment dit-on without? Without. Sans. Or if it's without them, sans eux. Sans. Okay. And time. But we want to talk about some time. Just like not as in I'll do that at some point. But I need some time. Du temps. Du temps. Voilà, du temps. Okay, right. Just under 24 minutes and probably 25 by the time I actually wrap this up. But thank you very much for watching this, and I hope you've enjoyed and that this is useful. So what we've looked at today is obviously six ways that you can deal with toxic people, but more importantly we're looking at the vous form of verbs, and most of them are ER verbs. Continuer, arrêter, affirmer. We've seen a reflexive verb there in the imperative form. We've had a brief look at how to change things from the vous form or into the new form by changing EZ at the end to ONS, et to on, and that sort of means let's do something. We've seen a little bit of vocabulary which can be used in lots of different contexts, but possibly a couple of verbs that you haven't really seen before there. And I've also got the link here to psychologue.net, which is quite useful reading if you're interested in that kind of area. And we've got a couple of couple of links here at the bottom. The first one is to this video tutorial, and the next one is to finding out more about toxic relationships at another French website. Voilà, ici. Merci beaucoup et protégez-vous, look after yourselves, protect yourselves, and à la prochaine fois. Au revoir.